Hi, and welcome to your virtual orientation for your 180 BHS Autumn Ridge by Starcraft. We're going to start your tour on the outside, and we're going to start at the front. The very first thing I want to note, the catch to hold the compartment door open is magnetic. Next, we'll take a look at your front storage compartment. In your front storage compartment, you will find the manual crank for your stabilization jacks, and I will show you those when we get to them. Also, if you have a drill, they now are giving this little bit that can also be used with your drill on the stabilization jacks. Right next to your front storage compartment, we'll see that this unit is pre-wired for solar panels, and here is the connection area for that. Next, we'll move out to the tongue. On the tongue, we have your battery storage along with your 12-volt leads to your battery. You have your 20-pound propane tank and a manual tongue jack. We'll continue around the outside. The next thing that we'll come to is the inlet for your potable water. So if you're going to be camping basically off-grid or not at a campground where you're not going to have any water source, what you can do is fill your fresh water tank with clean drinking water and water that you can use for your toilets and everything else. And this is where you would put the water to fill that tank. We'll continue along until we come to your 30 amp power supply. This is what you would plug into the campground power, the power at your home. Inside the RV, we do have a plug to convert this. So the one end, basically the plug looks like this, and the other side it looks like your regular 15 amp household plug, so that you can plug it into some power if you don't have a 30 amp plug at your house. Right below here you'll see the output for your black and gray water tanks, as well as the valves, black water and gray water right here. And right in front of there we have some low point drains. Basically these just bring the water to a low point in the plumbing and allow you to, you'll see there we had a little bit of antifreeze that were in the lines that came out. It just allows you to let the rest of the water out of the line if you wish to do so. Then right next door here, we're going to notice the hot water tank access on the outside of the trailer. There's a few things that are important to note here. One is this anode rod. It's supposed to help save the tank from corrosion, but also it acts as the drain plug. However, it's important if you're going to drain your tank, before you take this out, always make sure you open the pressure relief valve and relieve that pressure. Otherwise, this thing's going to shoot out at you like a rocket. Also in here is where you'd find a reset for your hot water tank. Continue along the back till we get to the very back, and we'll see that the input for the trailer for your cable and satellite TV is at the back here, right beside your city water connection. So if you're camping at the campground or you have it hooked up at home, this is where you put your garden hose. If we take a look up, follow my finger there, you'll see there is a camera body, and in this particular unit there is actually a camera installed. What this does is allow you from inside the vehicle, you can see the rear of the trailer here. We continue around the outside and we'll come to one of your two stabilization jacks. They're at the back of the trailer. It is important to note that these should not be used to level your trailer. Your trailer should be pretty much level, and then you just snug these up to the ground to support it, to stop any extra movement. We'll come to the door side of your trailer where you'll see your awning, and on either end of the awning we have the head, and in that head there is a speaker on either end, and those speakers can be used with the stereo that is inside the trailer, so you can listen to your radio or anything outside here. Also under your awning is the venting for your refrigerator. Now, it is important to note that in order for the refrigerator to operate properly, we need to have airflow in through the vent. So avoid leaning anything against this or doing anything that would obstruct the airflow to your refrigerator. Also under here we have a GFCI plug. First thing we see as soon as we step through the door is your fire extinguisher. And right next to that, we see your propane carbon monoxide detector. You'll also notice there's a green light, and just above that a little button. The button's for you to test the unit. When you test it, there will be a series of loud beeps, and then this light will turn back to green. If it turns back to green, then it's functioning properly. It's recommended you test it every so often. I usually suggest every 6 months when you change the battery in your smoke detector. And usually they recommend you change the battery in a smoke detector at daylight savings time. Let's take a look at the rest of the inside of your trailer here. As soon as you come into the door to your left, you'll see a lot of your controls here. We have the awning light. We have the main lights for the trailer. And we have the control for your slide in and out, as well as the switch to extend or retract your awning. Also, just inside the door is the stereo for the RV. Here you'll notice that we have connectivity with Bluetooth, an auxiliary port, HDMI, and a USB charging port. We also have 2 zones. Zone 1 will operate the speakers inside the trailer. Zone 2 will operate the speakers in the head of the awning that I showed you previously. Also here, and of importance, is our indication panel. Here you'll see the battery level, fresh, black, and gray water tank levels, as well as switching for your water pump and your water heater. So let's take a look at your bedroom here. First thing we'll note is we have the TV above the bed. And of importance here is the red light indicates the antenna booster to help boost your antenna signal. However, if that is on while you're trying to use cable or satellite, your cable or satellite will not work properly. So make sure that is off if you're intending to use your cable or satellite TV. We also have some underbed storage, which gives you access to the front storage compartment. And I removed 2 Red Robertson screws to lift this panel up, and you'll see you have access to your water pump. Now, right there, you'll see a valve for your water pump. Right now, this pump is pointing, the valve is pointing in this direction, meaning it's going to draw water from your freshwater tank right here. If we flip that valve up so it's in line with this, that's going to put it in winterizing mode and allow you to draw antifreeze from this filler tube. Now we'll take a look at your range top. Now it is important to note that when using your range top, one, always make sure that the glass is open, but also when traveling, make sure you remember to fully put the glass back down over top. This will ensure that it will not break on you. Now to light, you turn it to the flame indicator there and turn the sparker knob. You do the same thing for each individual burner. Next, we'll take a look at your fridge. Now this fridge operates on electric or gas. If you switch it to the gas side, you'll see that we have lights that light up. That indicates that it's working fine. However, it hasn't actually lit yet. What will happen is if it tries to light and it can't, which it shouldn't because the gas, I don't have the propane on, this light will start flashing. And when it starts flashing, that indicates there's a problem with the gas or your propane. And in my case here, the problem is going to be that I don't have the valve open on the bottle on the front, which is often the case. A lot of times people will forget to turn that on, come in here to turn on the fridge and wonder why it's not working. See, there you go. Now it's flashing. That's telling me, oh, there's a problem. Now when that happens, you turn it off, go make sure the valve's open, give it a couple minutes, come back and try to light it again. If your valve was open, but you just opened it and just kind of opening up your trailer, sometimes it takes a bit of time for the right amount of pressure to build up in the lines in order to actually light the fridge. Right behind us here we have your thermostat. To operate this, it's currently in the off position. We click it over one click there. You can hear in the background the furnace just kicked on. And then underneath we use this slider to control the temperature. Next we'll come to your bunk. And in this bunk we have an emergency exit. With this emergency exit, you push down on the black tab, push the red handle over, push the handle all the way out of the window so it's free of the trailer, and then using that red tab, pull the screen free and you can escape to safety. Now underneath this bunk here we have an access panel. Now this again takes a couple red Robertson screws to remove this piece here, and at the back corner you have access to the inside portion of your hot water tank. Why would you want to access the inside portion of your water tank? Well, if you're going to do your winterizing yourself, the bypass valves are in the back of the hot water tank and they look exactly the same as the ones that were on the water pump. And what you need to do is make sure the handle is in line with the direction you want the water to flow. So in this case you want it to not flow into the tank and it just loops around and comes back on itself. So you're avoiding the tank because you really don't need to fill your tank with antifreeze, as you can drain the water out of it. Take a look at the bathroom here. See, you have a switch for your fan and the main light. This is where you'll find the GFCI for the unit. Now if you ever come in here and this light is on, that would indicate that the GFCI is tripped. And a couple symptoms that you might experience with the GFCI tripped are any plugs on the load side of that GFCI will not be operational. And generally speaking, that'll be anything near water. So this plug probably shouldn't work if the GFCI is tripped, as well as the outside plug. Let's have a talk about your AC unit here. This is top mounted and all the controls for it are here. This knob will control your temperature setting, less cold or more cold. This will open or close the baffles here, which allows the air to escape. And this knob actually will control whether you turn on just the fan or just the AC. Now you will need full 120 volt power for this. You cannot run that off the battery. Okay, one of the last things I'd like to look at here is your power center. At your power center, this is where you will find all of your breakers like you might find in your house, and they function much the same. Sorry if I was pointing it at the floor. And we have your fuses like you might see in your car. Now these fuses, you will get a little red light beside them that lets you know they're burnt out. The last thing I want to show you is, I believe I did mention when I was showing the outside tour of the trailer, I showed you the main power cord and it was a 30 amp plug. Well, this is the adapter I was talking about. This end would get connected to the plug outside, and then this looks like your regular 15 amp power plug. So you plug the cord that's outside the trailer into this, and then you can plug this into your 15 amp power supply. Alright, that concludes the video orientation. If we have any questions, if there's something that I missed or didn't cover in the video, just go ahead and give us a call and we'll do our best to answer any and all questions that you may have. Thank you very much.